How do I write my profile as a tutor? And is your profile as a tutor really that important? Surely, as long as it states my experience, my qualifications, that's what's important. The rest of it is just a bonus and maybe just waffle. Actually, your profile matters hugely. Imagine walking into a room full of people and you introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Dawn and I'm a maths and English tutor. The response is, oh, you should meet A, B, C, and D because they're maths and English tutors as well. Oh, okay. Well, we could add a bit more information to differentiate ourselves. We go, hi, I'm Dawn. I'm a maths and English tutor for over 13 years. And they go, oh, that's a long time. You should meet A, B, C, and D because they're maths and English tutors as well. The goal of your profile is to differentiate you from everyone else. More importantly, as humans, we are to some degree egocentric, and as almost anyone looking for a tutor will be more curious about what you can give to them than your credentials. The fact that you have been a teacher for X number of years is no consequence at all to them if your expertise and experience isn't relevant to what they're looking for. Okay, the common mistakes new tutors make in their tutoring profiles. Number one is hiding behind qualifications. This is reinforced further by the profiles which rely on listing degrees, certificates, training, but they fail to mention anything that's personal. There is a fear that if I don't sound official, no one's going to trust me. But the reality is, people who are looking for tutors are actually looking for humans. And most humans, parents or students, are drawn to warmth, reassurance, and a sense of connection. Your qualifications are a part of the picture, but they want to get to know you. Are you someone that they feel happy inviting into their lives to work with them, potentially when they're feeling vulnerable because it's to work with them with a subject in which they struggle or with learning in general? I normally explain how I always wondered whether my oldest daughter might be mildly dyslexic. When I approached her school, they dismissed dyslexia as an excuse for laziness. I didn't have the confidence to fight my corner, so I decided to learn what I could so that I could help her myself. And that was probably over 20 years ago now. And then I explained the journey that has led me to tutoring. So another mistake that is sometimes used is the custom of applying firmed scholar dialect to declare expertise and education. Obviously, I've exaggerated this point, but every word in my original sentence I formalized with these for thesaurus. People believe that they need to sound impressive, but the best profiles, again, are the ones that feel human. A calm, friendly tone builds far more trust than jargon and big words do. Formality and big words can make it feel as if you're putting a barrier between you and them and keeping them at arm's length. Don't forget the parent or the student's point of view. This seems to be the one that occurs time and time again. People talk about themselves without addressing the family's or the student's needs. This no doubt stems from the fear that I don't know how to sell myself. But the simple solution is not to try and sell yourself, but instead to focus on your understanding what the family wants. They're probably looking for someone who can help their child to catch up, someone that will help their child regain their confidence in the subject, a tutor who will help them bridge the gap in their knowledge, someone who is warm, approachable, and is there to help. To reinforce this last point, I will often give parents some simple pointers of things they can do to support their child, such as presenting reading as a game rather than as a chore, offering rewards rather than reprimands, or sometimes it might be a simple game such as the times tables, noughts and crosses game that we use a lot, that they can share with their child in a quick, no pressure sort of environment. The goal is to highlight that I'm here to help you. I do care. Something else that people seem to forget to do is sharing why they tutor. Listing experience without sharing their motivation, as many people feel that no one cares about their actual story, but people do care and they are actually hugely interested. A sentence like, I became a tutor because I know what it's like to struggle can be powerful. It shows heart. I normally state that my reason for starting to tutor is because a friend talked me into it. And I, again, didn't have the confidence to say no. But over the years, it opened my eyes to see how many children are struggling because the school system doesn't work for them. These days, my mission statement is to support achieve their maths and English goals in a way that works for them, to boost their confidence and knowledge, and to support other tutors whose goal is to boost the confidence of others who have lost sight of their abilities because they're not taught in a way that suits them. The first time I wrote this, I cried. It wasn't just a phrase that said, I aim to boost the confidence and knowledge in maths and English. It went so much deeper. And because it meant something to me, I hope that it would resonate with other people as well. Something that people do is trying to be everything to everyone. Many tutors, when they first start, have this goal of tutoring all ages and subjects. They're desperate for this to work, and they fear that if they narrow it down, they might lose opportunities. However, being more niche builds trust. Saying I specialize in helping year 6 students feel confident, ready for their SATs, is far more powerful than sounding broad and vague. Sometimes the analogy of brain surgery is used. If that was you, I suspect that you would look for a specialist rather than a general practitioner. And although this is an extreme example, it exemplifies the point. I can remember back in my early days of tutoring, someone saying to me that she could tutor pretty much any subject. You don't really need the subject knowledge, you just need the skill. And for a while, I took this advice on board and started taking other tutors who could support a far wider range of subjects than I could do alone. However, in doing so, I was setting the business up for failure. It was only when I stepped back, reanalyzed the situation, and that maths and English were my strengths, and supporting neurodiverse children was a strength. So that's where we as a company, with all the tutors and I, now focus. From this point on, the company has gone from strength to strength and has gained an incredible reputation in the process. Something else is not including a clear call to action. So many people fear sounding pushy, so they end their profile without inviting the next step. This is creating huge missed opportunity. It doesn't have to be a sales pitch. It can simply be a gentle, warm invitation along the lines of, if you've got any questions or if you'd like to have a chat about how I can support your child, please do feel free to get in touch. A phrase like this can make all the difference. So we've looked at what we shouldn't do, so now we need to consider what we should include. I've attached a free download for you so that you can just fill in the blanks to create your own tutoring profile, and I hope it helps. So the first thing you need is a friendly introduction. First thing, you just need to offer your name and a warm introduction, such as, hi, I'm Dawn. I'm a local tutor who enjoys helping children grow in confidence. And this will help you set the tone in a warm, reassuring, and human kind of way. The next thing to include is why you became a tutor. So a brief insight into your motivation. For example, I became a tutor because I know how hard it can feel to fall behind and how powerful it is when someone believes in you. Share your hearts because this helps to build a real connection. Another story I occasionally share, and this is one I used to the introduction of my book, is how we'd been doing something in maths one day and the teacher picked on me to give her the answer. And I had no idea. And so she repeated what she just said, and I was still none the wiser. After this happened a third time, she rolled her eyes and moved on to asking someone else. And I felt so stupid. But that evening, I sat down with Dad, and he used the analogy of a set of scales to explain it to me, and it just made perfect sense. And having that someone that would take the time to speak to me as an individual in a way that I understood, it gave me my confidence in myself, made me believe that I could actually do it. And now I want to be that person to other people. Next, you need to talk about your experience and your background. So explain your work experience, for example, teaching assistant, classroom teaching, homeschooling, parenting, coaching. If you have any formal qualifications, mention them, but don't worry if they're limited. Focus on the experience of children and your approach. It is your experience that often builds the bridge with the family rather than your qualifications. I've never qualified as a classroom teacher. The thought of standing in a group of people terrifies me. But I have a degree in childcare and education, and I've spent over 20 years learning about how we can support different learning styles. Some parents are looking for a qualified teacher, and that's fine. But for most parents, the other information that I share more than justifies the fact that I'm not actually a qualified teacher. Talk about the subjects and the ages that you're going to tutor. So, as mentioned previously, you need to be specific with this. I work mainly with children in Key Stage 2 who need support with maths and reading, though you may on occasion start by working with a child in Key Stage 2 and follow them to the end of their GCSEs. But make sure you keep your profile specific to your main goal. You may also mention that you help with SATs, phonics, 11 plus, specific exam boards, or if you're doing English texts that you work with, if it's relevant. Talk about your approach and your values. How do you teach and what are your values? What's important to you is hugely important overall. It might be that you want to state how your approach is to be calm and patient and how you always make sure a child feels safe to ask a question. Or your approach may be that you offer discipline and authority needed to ensure that the student reaches their full potential and the grades that they aspire to. There is no right or wrong approach to this. Just ensure that you're honest, as otherwise you will have lost trust from the outset. You may also comment on how you focus on confidence building, breaking down tricky topics into small, relatable steps. Maybe your specialty is helping anxious learners. I have a couple of maths tutors who both work with me. Both are amazing, yet both are very, very different. Henry is a civil servant and will work with you through a worksheet at your pace, breaking the question down and supporting you as you figure out how different parts of it are solved. The other tutor, Neil, is a retired British Airways engineer, and he again breaks everything down, but his method is to relate it back to the real world. So he looks at the importance of triangles in building bridges through getting you to build bridges out of cardboard and sellotape. Then once you see why triangles are so important, it will then justify working on Pythagoras or trigonometry because you can see its relevance. Both have aspects which are quite similar, yet at the same time, they're both very, very different in their approach. Offer reassurance for parents. Show that you understand their worries. If you have a personal anecdote to share, do share. It again reinforces that you're human, but not just that. It shows that you can empathize. It may be you, your child, a child that you've worked with, but stating that you understand how upsetting it is when the child says that they're rubbish at maths. Let them know that you will do everything you can realistically to help. Offer them calm reassurance that progress is possible. Rome wasn't built in a day. But if you can help them to boost their child's confidence from their willingness to participate, which leads to improvement, which leads to confidence, and it becomes a spiral of success. And finally, offer a gentle invitation to get in touch. End by offering them an easy next step, such as, if you think I might be a good fit for your child, feel free to get in touch. I'd love to help to answer any questions that you might have. Should you mention qualifications? What if you don't have any? Yes, do include any relevant qualifications, especially if they relate to teaching childcare or your subject area. But don't worry if you don't have formal teaching qualifications. Many brilliant tutors come from other backgrounds, such as teaching assistants, parents, or those changing their career. Focus on your experience with children and your approach to supporting learning. Mention things like your DBS check, training that you've done, or personal experience helping children at home or in school. Parents generally want someone kind, patient, and capable. And this isn't necessarily someone with a string of certificates or a catalogue of theoretical knowledge. What sort of tone works best? Aim for a calm, warm, friendly tone, like how you'd like to speak to a parent over a cup of tea. Avoid being too formal or overly academic. You don't need to sound impressive. It's more important to sound genuine. Let your personality come through. It helps family feel a connection with you. Use language that is clear yet gentle. Use language that reassures and invites trust. Imagine if you're a parent who's feeling anxious and uncertain. How would you want to be spoken to? Put yourself in their shoes and reassure them that together you can all do the best for their child. So what's next? Below you'll find the link for the article where you will be able to find the download. It's just a fill in the blanks tutor profile template written in a warm, approachable tone that mirrors the kind of connection that parents and students are seeking. And I hope you find it helpful. If you want more supported guidance, you might want to check out the tutor support group that I recently started with the goal of supporting those who are looking to build their own successful tutoring business. Again, I've put the link below. I hope this helps.